Welcome back to the Teams Insider podcast. This week we have Javed Khan, who's CEO of Neat. We get a little bit about his history, his previous role in Cisco, and also his stint in AI and autonomous vehicles. And then we get into what's going on in meeting spaces, his perspective, AI in the room, a little bit on manageability, APIs and MCPs and where he thinks that's going, and also a little bit about the Microsoft relationship and what Neat are doing with MDEP. Many thanks to Javed for jumping on the show and sharing so much, and also many thanks to Neat for being such a big supporter of the community. On with the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Really excited for this one. Been talking to Javed for a little while in his new role at Neat off the pod. So this is the first time on the pod. And obviously Javed has a big history in our space as well, which we'll get into. Javed, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Tom. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, awesome. So for the very few people who don't know who you are, because I expect most people in our community probably do, but can you give a little bit of your background? And I'd love to hear a little bit about this autonomous car venture where you came out of Collab and now you're back to Collab.
Yeah, sure. So for those, some of you know me. I'm new to the new CEO of Neat. I shouldn't say new anymore because it's been 4 months. Which is a lifetime, when you're talking about a smaller company that's moving fast. But I'm not new to Collab. I spent a lot of time in collaboration when I was at Cisco. I was running their collaboration business up until 2024. That was a much larger business, not just the devices business that Neat is focused on, but the broader collaboration portfolio there. So very, very familiar with the space. I was spent a lot of time in the space during COVID, which was a fascinating time for our industry. My background before that was enterprise security software, but I did go off and spend a few years working for a company called Aptiv, which builds autonomous driving software, not just for cars, but for other edge devices like robots and so on. And that's a fascinating space, and I think a little bit of relevant to edge devices, and I consider video conferencing devices a form of an edge device, right? But yeah, that space was probably an underappreciated space, because when you think about intelligence running on edge devices versus a data center, cars are probably the most advanced, and robots nowadays, right? Most advanced because they've been doing this for a while. So lots of good learnings there. I enjoyed that space. But when this role opened up at Neat, Neat's taken a very interesting approach with AI at the edge. I couldn't pass up. So excited to be back in the industry. I think we are going through the second wave of innovation and looking forward to talking more about it today.
Yeah, and is that some of, because obviously AI has happened and impacted lots of spaces during that time, but is that one of the things that brought you back to Collab and into Neat? So what they're doing in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. And I get asked, you were doing AI for a while on video devices in the collaboration space. Right? We've been talking about it, but something changed here the last few years, right? And when I say that, I'm referring to the amount of compute that you can pack into these devices, the kinds of AI models, the smaller AI models that you can pack into these devices. That is a fundamental shift that's happened technology shift that's happened in the last few years. So we can now do things that we had to do in a data center, or assuming you could even do it in the data center. So I feel we're about to go through another round of innovation because of the technology shifts that have happened from an hardware and from an AI model perspective, which will allow us to deliver a whole new set of experiences in the conference room that were previously just not technically possible, right? And that was one of the driving factors. I think Neat specifically took a distributed AI approach in the conference room, which is different from how the industry has historically approached it. So this coming together of certain technologies was a big driver, and we've continued to deliver better video meetings experiences. But I think there's so much more we can do in the conference room, and that was a big driver, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's super exciting time because the models are advancing so fast, and not just the giant frontier models, but what you can do with the SLMs, if you like, the smaller language models on the edge. And it's things like AI direction, intelligence, audio optimization, recognition. I feel like certainly talking to people at Microsoft, there's a renewed recognition that actually there's a lot of value of doing this at the edge, particularly we get into multi-camera and modular systems.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's the advancements in technology. And there's two other things I learned, frankly, from my experience in on the auto and the robotics side of the house when I was at Aptiv was you also have a latency problem that's getting solved, all right? Because it's one thing to be able to run these things locally. You don't have the network delay that you would have had if you were running that in the data center. And the third benefit is privacy, right? You can now keep data, keep private content local. It doesn't leave your campus, right? So those are two other problems, if I may, that now this technology shift is allowing us to solve for. I think that will allow us to do certain things that were previously not possible, right? I mean, even the simple things around sometimes customers were nervous about transcription and translation in real time, even though we've been doing that in the cloud for a while. You now have the opportunity to eliminate the latency problem that cloud solutions have and the privacy problem. We can now confidently say it's all running locally.
Nice. So, taking it a bit wider, what's your current kind of thesis or thinking around meeting spaces?
Yeah, so I'll start with a neat view of the world, right? So we are no longer a startup. Starting to grow pretty fast. So when I just think about where Neat needs to go, we are focused on growing our business, right? So at the end of the day, um, we made a lot of progress with small, medium rooms in our early stages. We added, started off as a Zoom shop and then expanded to other platforms. So focusing on growing the business. So that's one of the core focus areas for Neat as a company. We're seeing a lot of hyper growth, but we want to make sure we are building a company that is ready for the scale that our customers expect from us, that the market expects from us. I think the second meeting space ask I'm seeing from customers is they are spending their time. They made their platform decisions, right? Whether they use Zoom, Microsoft, Google, they are looking for better experiences as they go through their day when they are asked to move between platforms. So they love the experience they get from these devices. They obviously want those to be better leveraging AI, but make it easier for me to go through my day when I join another of these platforms. So working with the various platform partners, right, Microsoft, Zoom, to make sure that that experience gets better. And then the third thing is they continue to want simplicity with managing this ecosystem of theirs, right? Because they have multiple vendors oftentimes, right? They are using it not just for video conferencing, but increasingly the devices are being used for other internal use cases, right? Wayfinding and internal messaging and so on. So they want to simplify the management of that ecosystem and increasingly do that using some of the agents that they're starting to install rather than having to put humans every time. So those are some of the challenges that I think the industry has to continue to work on. I would also add the underlying foundation, which is we cannot do enough to make the meetings experience better, right? That's one of the things that I learned during my days at Cisco is let's we need to there's more we can do to make that experience better. There's still people when they walk into a room, right? If they're not familiar with the ecosystem, there's an extra click or two, there's an extra phone call or two sometimes that's involved. And the industry can do more there across those platforms.
That's another area where AI is really exciting, like the potential of it being much more assistive. Like conceptually, it can understand there are people in the room, and actually, you've got good voice modeling now. So actually, rather than having to press buttons, maybe I can ask questions and get intelligent answers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the interface can be a more human interface. I think it can also be a learning interface. So if you notice that the particular room has the same set of problems every time, whether it's technology adoption or it's just there are people still in the room, or the fact that that a person always ends up in the front of the room and is out of camera, right? Or out of sight of the camera. So I think how can we adapt based on problems? I think AI has the ability to learn those things and just make that experience better every time. And really, these are things that previously computationally were just not possible,
Hmm.
right? And you can now start to do these things.
And you mentioned management. That's something I hear a lot from enterprises. As you say, typically there's more than one device partner in play. They've obviously typically got their vendors chosen management platform, Zoom, Google, like Teams. Neat are the first to have a public preview of MCP in the
Hmm.
space, and I'm really I'm spending a lot of time with AI and agents as a techie probably is at the moment. But like the potential of doing things through MCP from chat or from agents is really exciting.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing piece of the amazing development, frankly, in this agentic AI space, which not only is going to make the interface into these management systems easier because it's more of a human language interface, and we built an MCP server where we are exposing the data that we have in our management systems to these agents via MCP. You can now interface using a more human-friendly fashion. But I think the other thing that this technology is going to allow us to do is bridge disparate systems, whether it's disparate management systems in the video conferencing space or other kinds of enterprise applications. So I can now very easily connect what comes out of, whether it's problems or data coming out of the management console lead pulse that we have with ServiceNow or with Salesforce or with another ticketing system you might have. And I don't have to worry about a direct integration with them as long as I support a NCP type protocol. So what we are doing is we are saying, okay, yes, we've had Neat Pulse, customers love it, but it still involves you going in there and selecting certain bells and whistles. You can now do that by having a conversation, right? And then hooking that up to the agents. As an example, you wake up in the morning and, any systems that are not quite working, you can now automatically open up a ticket and that kicks off its own workflow.
Yeah,
We
that's what
look
I
at
want is the agent doing the first pass for me rather than me having to go into Pulse or any other tool in the morning and scan down and check or get email alerts. Why is the agent not doing that? And then potentially, we're there where like actually we know what the typical remediation is for that. We're going to do A or B or C. Like if you've done it 3 times, let's just get the agents to do it because that's what I'm going to do anyway.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think so that's why we are also looking at making it a two-way process. So it's not just getting data out of our systems, but taking action, all right?
Yeah.
Because that's where the true power comes in. You obviously have to protect it from a security and have the access control in place. But that's how we are approaching it. You can send a message out to the device and say, "I'm about to take certain action, or reboot the device, or so on." So that's how we've approached it. We look at ourselves as we are really really good and focused on what goes on in the conference room, not just the experience but also the manageability of it. Let's take that data, that learnings, that intelligence that we are gathering from the conference room, whether it's while you're in a meeting, before or after, and make that available to these agents. And what you do with that, others are really, really good at that. All right. So let the agents deal with the language interface. Let's them deal with the connection to other enterprise systems, rather than us trying to build all of that out, which is what
Yeah.
some of us tried to do earlier. The other thing I'd add is it also allows us to hide a lot of the complexity around management. So historically, we, companies have had to build lots of bells and whistles. What is the latency of a particular system? What's the jitter? Is a particular subcomponent performing? You can now not worry about exposing that directly because this interface abstracts that from you and fix the system versus telling me about what the latency is. So we don't have to worry about all those bells and whistles, just significantly simplifying the ability to manage these devices.
Yeah, I mean, we know it's so hard to build an interface for these kind of things because every customer, someone wants every piece of latency metadata on the screen, the other person wants none of it and they want simplicity. So the ability to have flexibility there to be like, I can go in and get the data if I need it, but actually I can have a very simple interface if I need that. And even we're doing a lot of building, custom reports with AI from various different tools, and like the ability to generate the exact UI you want is really exciting.
Yeah, I see, and this is me getting a little philosophical, right? But as I see AI, sometimes you can use AI to replace existing complexity, but the bigger power is to eliminate it completely, right? Which is I needed these bells and whistles in the past because of a certain reason,
Mm,
but if I can have a higher language, higher level conversation, and eliminate it completely, right? Why not do that? And that's the approach we've taken, which is use technology not to replace an existing complex piece with a slightly simpler human interface, but can you eliminate that completely, whether it's manageability, joining a meeting, or the experience in meetings.
nice. And talk me through a bit about your perspective and Neat's perspective on multi-platform, because Neat, came up on Zoom initially, made a massive push into the Teams space, and now is a big part of the business, I believe, is now Teams, but Google's now on the scene as well, and BYOD modes.
Yeah, so we are, in some ways, what I call is the Switzerland of the devices industry, right? We don't have a meetings horse in the race or a meetings platform horse in the race. And by the way, there are more than meetings platforms nowadays, right? So these are collaboration platforms. They do so much more than just video meetings. We don't we are not making a bet on those platforms, but we want to support every platform that our customers are using. So we did start off with Zoom. Obviously, coming out of COVID, there was significant adoption of Zoom, but there was also Microsoft Teams adoption. So those were the two platforms we supported. We are increasingly seeing our customers ask for Google, so we continue to support that platform. The in-meeting experience that we run is 100% certified, supported, enabled by software from those vendors. We don't try and influence what happens when you're in that meeting, and we will continue to support newer platforms as our customers ask for it. What the value we provide is the experience, the video experience, the audio experience, the quality of that experience from the room, making that better. Our camera technology, our audio technology, the ability to deliver that better experience is one piece. The second is a big part of the cost is often setting up these ecosystems, setting up these rooms. And so we spend a lot of energy on the process of setting up your room. Everything's over IP. It's a distributed AI architecture. You can manage that through Pulse, now MCP. So that's the other big value add, because oftentimes it's the cost. You can order one of these devices, have it show up, but what does it take to get it up and running? You have to spend an extra $20,000 for a $10,000,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hardware
And
spend.
the kit device, the devices have got much more cost efficient over time, but the install costs can often outweigh that if it's a complex install, or needs special configuration and special programming, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the value add we provide. But we're going to stay true to, we don't have a meetings platform in the race, unlike some of our competitors. It just makes it so that the base level functionality we build forces us to make that work across all platforms, versus being having certain things on one platform versus not on others.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And like I guess coming back into the space, you've obviously picked up the relationship with Microsoft. You've got your first MDEP device out there. So we're obviously a Microsoft focused community. It'd be great to get your take on Microsoft and the Microsoft relationship.
Yeah, we've been partnering with Microsoft for a while. Again, Microsoft's done a great job of bringing, frankly, the early stages. While there was about Zoom adoption, the wider enterprise adoption has been driven by the great work Microsoft's done with Teams. Platform continues to get better, so we continue to work with them closely on enhancements they are making, not just with things like MDEP, but this facilitator that's increasingly being talked about. With MDEP, we are starting to see the manageability get a lot more easier in the Microsoft system. So as Microsoft pushes that across the ecosystem, not just within video conferencing, but other devices, I think the concern that customers have had about what version of Android or what OS am I running on this hardware?
Hmm.
How do I manage that? How do I update it? Will get significantly better. So we've signed up to support that across our portfolio. As we ship newer devices, we'll enable that. I think it's going to be, if you're a Microsoft shop, right, it's going to be a great way. It's going to simplify your manageability and security. I think security is the other big driver. So we are excited to be a part of that ecosystem. It will also allow us over time, as the platform gets adopted, to make our development a lot easier, because now there's an underlying base OS that's standardized across our hardware. So our functionality, make it work once, and it will work across the Microsoft ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, Javed, thanks so much for jumping on. And just on a personal note, thanks for you spend a lot of time with the analysts and the community, and you're always willing to answer questions and stuff. So I appreciate the level of engagement you have with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This is a great conversation, and looking forward to more of those.
Yeah. We'll give you another 6 months, or maybe your first year in, and then we'll revisit if you like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Javed.
Thank you.